On today's episode of the Cryptoverse, the Empire strikes back. The legacy banking system has managed to sink New Zealand Bitcoin exchange Bitnz by refusing to provide them with banking services. Dash is the privacy-focused digital currency that offers transactions with instant confirmations. Its unique decentralized decision-making and self-funding system make it an ideal choice as a stable and secure digital cash. Click the link in the video description to learn more. Hi there guys, and welcome to the latest episode of the Cryptoverse, your regular dose of news and commentary on Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies and blockchains. I am your host, Chris Coney. Today is the 15th of February 2017, so let's get right into today's episode. Over to coinmarketcap.com we go to look at the biggest winner and the biggest loser of the day. Now I think I should give the honorable mention to Ethereum Core today. I probably don't give Ethereum as much love as it deserves, but check it out. $1.1 billion market cap. I mean, that's got to be a serious achievement, right? Even though it split and all that, it's still reigning supreme. And that leaves an Ethereum Core token at 1287, so good on Ethereum for doing its thing. Anyway, in terms of biggest winner today, it's Dash. Double-digit gain, 10.12% up on the day. That puts a Dash at 1884. I think this probably comes off the back of the successful launch of the 12.1 software version upgrade that happened recently. And that means the Dash blockchain is $133.7 million market cap. And that puts it about, $50 million behind Monero. And the biggest loser of the day, down at 14th by market cap, is Waves. Waves went up yesterday, and now it's down 8.93%. And it means a Waves token is now worth 25 cents and is almost a round $25 million market cap. Onto the Bitcoin price chart then. We are holding steady above $1,000 still. Yesterday's candle fits in with the comments I made yesterday about those recent set of candles having those long tails. Now, that candle from yesterday is now fully formed, so I can see that while the tail isn't as long as the previous day, the body of the candle does sit in the upper half of the trading range. So that's a bullish signal for that particular day. And so far, today's low, after about 11 hours of trading in terms of GMT time, is $1,001 dead, and the medium-term trend line there and the 50-day moving average are still holding hands, moving in lockstep as they climb upwards. A quick stopover on the Litecoin network to see how Segregated Witness is getting on. This progress bar is a little bit misleading because it's counting the percentage of SegWit blocks in the last 24 hours, which doesn't really mean a whole lot in my opinion. What we want to know is how many blocks have been mined in the last activation period. So never mind what that is. If you want to know, we'll look into it. But today, basically, SegWit support on Litecoin, 7.77%. That's up from yesterday and is a new all-time high based on my records. So it's up about just under 1% from yesterday. And you remember I've got this new formula now, so if I project it forward, it means that in 87 days at this rate, SegWit will be activated. Actually, my projected activation date as of today is Saturday, the 13th of May, 2017, which means Litecoin will make it. The deadline for Litecoin activation of SegWit is Wednesday, the 31st of January, 2018. So if it activates on the 13th of May, 2017, that's well within the boundary. By contrast then, Bitcoin SegWit activation, courtesy of the CoinDance data here. I did find out yesterday that, actually shout out to Chris Zan on this one, he informed me that the deadline for SegWit activation on the Bitcoin network, because it's been signaling for a while already, is Saturday the 25th of November 2017. Now today, SegWit on Bitcoin is up at 23.8%. That's down. It's down about as much as Litecoin has gained. That's not that particularly significant, but it's lost about 1% since yesterday. Now that means that at this rate, in terms of the average gain per day, It's going to take 447 days now for SegWit to activate on Bitcoin. That puts its activation day at Tuesday, the 8th of May 2018, which means it's not going to make it at this rate, given that it's 25th of November 2017 is the deadline, and the current projection is it's going to take until May of 2018. Therefore, SegWit at this rate is going to get formally rejected on the Bitcoin network. In terms of the news then, I have turned to Bitcoin.com for this Jamie Redman article entitled New Zealand Exchange Bitnz Shuts Down Due to, quote, Banking Hostility. Now I'll share with you one of the most challenging parts about producing the Cryptoverse on a daily basis. It's when I sit down in the morning and I select which story to share with you. That's hard, trust me. There's this never-ending question of, what will you find interesting? What do you actually need to know? What will actually get views? There's all these conflicting forces that I have to somehow reconcile. And it's never perfect. You never get it all right. It's an impossible basket of things to balance. So I just do the best I can and then put it out there. So today I picked the story that generated actually the greatest amount of emotion for me. If I get emotionally charged about something, then that's kind of a sign that this story actually matters to me on some level. And I figured, since you are voluntarily tuning into my channel, you probably want to hear what I believe to be important and why. The purpose of me choosing this article today then is to yet again demonstrate how the old banking system abuses its power, and in turn to convince you that the amount of power that they have should be reduced. In fact, I now have a special folder in my browser bookmarks called Stories About Banks Abusing Their Power, because I want to begin to build a body of evidence to show people who are skeptical, who don't fully appreciate how serious this is. And then my intention, once they've seen that body of evidence and I've brought them to that new awareness, then I can present cryptocurrencies on the back of that as the solution to the problem that they then understand, right? So that's the old 1-2 punch I'm going for there. So the article begins by saying the New Zealand Bitcoin exchange Bitnz has recently announced to its customers it will be closing its doors soon. The company explains the unfortunate closure is due to a New Zealand banking system that won't allow Bitcoin operations to hold bank accounts. Now, we've seen this behavior before, haven't we? Do you remember back last year when I did that story about RT, the news network in the UK, and they had their banking services cancelled by, I think it was Royal Bank of Scotland. In that episode, I even showed the letter that they sent them on screen, and it was sent to RT, and it basically said, we're going to close all your bank accounts, so move your money out and find alternative banking services by this date, otherwise you're going to lose all your money. And that's kind of the abuse of power that I'm talking about, right? RBS, in the letter, they actually specifically didn't give any reasons for their decision. They just said it was after careful consideration. So that should be a huge warning sign to everybody else. There's that old saying that's like, first they came for X, then they came for Y, and eventually they came for me, and it was too late because I didn't nip the problem in the bud, right? The point I'm making there is that don't get faked out by the illusion that tyranny is over there and is far away from you, because it's beginning its march towards you, and one day it will be on your doorstep. And if you haven't participated in building the system that will protect you from it, it's going to get you, and by then it'll be too late. So this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. The article goes on to say that the exchange has asked all of its customers to withdraw funds by April the 15th, as trading Bitcoins is now, quote, impossible for the company. So if you are tuning into this from New Zealand and have an account with Bitnz, then get your funds out ASAP. And it says here that Bitnz are actually referring all their customers to another company called Instabit as an alternative. So what's the obvious question off the back of that? If Bitnz are having their accounts shut down for dealing with Bitcoin, how the hell are Instabit able to continue operating? They're also a Bitcoin exchange. So there has to be something else going on here. Let's go down to the yellow bit where it says, New Zealand Bitcoin proponents on Reddit say that the banking issue is similar to last year's alleged financial blockade against Bitcoin companies in Australia. It says 17 Australian Bitcoin businesses had received letters stating their accounts were to be closed. So maybe that gives us an indication or an indirect answer to the question of how other Bitcoin exchanges are still able to operate in New Zealand. Maybe their time is running out too, and the banks are just doing things slowly to prevent an all-out outrage, if you know what I'm saying. So, what's at the root of the problem here? You know, I always like to identify and address the problem at the very root of it. I don't like remedying the symptoms, I like pulling the problems up by the roots. And this problem only exists because these businesses rely on having fiat bank accounts, meaning if they were able somehow to operate purely from within the crypto economy, well then the problem vanishes. And this includes the exchanges, of course. It just means that they would be crypto exchanges rather than fiat exchanges. And that's not really a problem either, since we have peer-to-peer marketplaces like Local Bitcoins and BitSquare. So why aren't more companies operating purely within the crypto economy, you might ask? Well, because adoption isn't wide enough. You know, there aren't enough companies offering the services and the products necessary to run a business who take Bitcoin as payment. And until that happens, there's still a need to pay with fiat currency from a fiat bank account, which is at the utter mercy of the banks. So if you really want to support the adoption of cryptocurrencies, be a bit of a pioneer. In these early days, go a little bit out of your way to spend your money with companies who accept Bitcoin. You know, walk an extra block to the coffee shop that accepts Bitcoin. Do a few projects on the side in exchange for Bitcoin as payment. And most important of all, educate people and bring them into the crypto economy, because that is ultimately going to be to their benefit. So thanks for joining me today, guys. If you liked this episode, hit the like button. If you disliked it, hit the dislike button. Please leave me a comment below with some feedback and get subscribed. And please support the Cryptoverse and boost cryptocurrency adoption by going to cryptoversity.com/podcast and becoming a patron. From just a few dollars a month, you can secure Cryptoversity's future, get unlimited access to all Cryptoversity courses, and access a private patrons-only chat group where you get direct access to me. That is all for today, guys. I will be back tomorrow with another episode of the Cryptoverse. Until then, it's me, Chris Coney, saying bye for now.